everyone. Thank you for joining me once again on Rhoda's Writing Corner. My name's Rhoda Detour. I'm a published author and the co-founder of Connections e-magazine, where we bring authors and readers together. Today I'm speaking with short story, horror, paranormal author Angie Blake. So welcome to the show, Angie.
Good afternoon.
Angie, I have to ask you, you are such a nice person, talking to you, chatting with you, your pictures, you look like a sweet person. Why horror? What is it about horror that you love?
I like to write horror stories because you could be as crazy and as imaginative. You could twist it and turn it any way you want to, and your readers will be pleased if they like horror. It's not like any other genre. I think I like to write it because I like to scare people. I like that feeling of adrenaline rushing through your body. I like to watch them sitting at the edge of their seat, their mind and everything into the book that they're reading. I like to watch them be scared. I like when my kids go, "Oh, Mom, why?" is always fun. I like to scare people.
Who's your favorite author, and what's your favorite book?
Well, my favorite author has to be Stephen King. There's no doubt about that. But I've got several books of his that I like. And two of them are Misery. Love that book. That lady is crazy. I just love it. And the other book is Stand By Me, where they go hunt down the dead bodies, and they're following the railroad tracks of 4 boys. And I don't know if I like it because it's really not a scary story. I think it's just a wonderful story. I think it's the relationship between the 4 boys. I think it's the time it's set in. I think it's everything in that story that makes it special, and that's why I like it so much.
A lot of my works are based on fact or my own life experiences, so are any of your stories based on your own personal experiences or even grounded in some kind of true story?
Yes, some of them. I can't say they're nonfiction, though, because I've added things onto these stories, and parts of them are nonfiction, and parts of them are fiction. It just kind of depends, like Elizabeth McBride. Most of her story is fiction, totally fiction. However, when I was younger, my mother used to tell me this story about this young ghost that haunted some of our family members, and later on they'd done research about her and found out she was kept in her room for 18 years, and she wasn't allowed to see anybody, she wasn't allowed to come out, she was not allowed to enjoy the family, nothing. Nobody was allowed to go in there with her for 18 years. Until the eve of her 18th birthday, she committed suicide because it was the only way out. I took that story and I ran with it. I don't necessarily know whose life it is about. I have no idea, but that's how Elizabeth McBride was born. It is about a true person. Her name's not Elizabeth. However, parts of it are true. Very, very true. And it just amazed me because she survived for 18 years. I'm not even sure if I could survive for 2 days in a situation like that. I'm not even sure if I could survive 1 day in a situation like that. What she endured in her first 18 years of life was probably more than anybody could ever endure in life. A life's journey is also sort of some things that happened with my mother while she was younger, and I just sort of added on to the story and ran with that too because I just felt like it was a story that needed to be told.
Angie, which of your characters is your favorite and what makes them unique?
Okay, by now you've all figured out that Elizabeth McBride is my favorite top-all character, but I have 2 more. John Carradine and Jack Steele. These are my 2 detectives in my story, and the reason why I love them so much is because they are totally opposite of each other, and they work together as a team, and they work together well. Johnny's crazy. John Carradine is probably one of the most non-common sense people I know, and I don't know him because he's a character, but you know what I mean. He thrives on having to find out the whole story. He thrives on how he always has to be right. He's brave, yet he's cocky. He has no common sense. He's got a sense of humor better than anybody I ever knew. Jack Steele, on the other hand, his partner in crime and best friend for life, has all the qualities that John Carradine lacks. He has intelligence. He's very, very smart. He has common sense. He is one to always continuously trying to keep Johnny from getting in trouble. He's the level-headed one of the bunch. He's the one who tells Johnny, no, don't do that. We can't do that. It's impossible. You can't. However, Johnny always proves him wrong.
Tell us about the best review you've ever got.
That's a good one. I think the best one was from Chandra. Really, she read my book and fell in love with it, Elizabeth McBride, and she says she's read it. She didn't know how many times the cover is worn off. She says she needs to get a new one, and she loves it because the story is so sad, and it's made her cry. And she said that it sits next to her bed every night on the nightstand, and she reads it before she goes to sleep. Now, I'm not sure what that means exactly, but I appreciate that, and I'm really touched that one of my stories touched a reader, and that's what I want one of my stories to do.
How do you deal with negative reviews? Because we all get them.
Well, this is how I deal with them. I text Rhoda a lot on Facebook and whine to her about it.
It's true. It's true. She does, people.
And no, I don't care what anybody says. Nobody can say that they are not affected by the negative reviews. I don't care what you say. You are affected. Every day, every time you get a negative review, you are affected. And you're thinking to yourself, my God, that's not true, or I'm a horrible writer, I'm never doing this again, I'm not ever selling any books, I won't ever bring it up again. That's pretty much your first reaction until you start thinking about things. And it's like, wait a minute, that's a good story. I don't care what anybody says, that's a good story. And there are 1.5 million readers out there all over the world that have not read your story yet. And just because one person thinks like that doesn't mean they all will.
You tell them, Angie. That's how I feel too.
Everybody has different tastes. You know, I don't like every story that Stephen King has ever written. I like most of them. In fact, I love most of his stories. But some of them I just don't like. I think he could have done a better job. Everybody's going to get bad reviews. It's part of the problem. You just have to get tough inside and be able to take. And where authors fail is when they give up.
That's funny, because that's exactly what I just said in my last podcast. Don't give up. Don't shred the papers, because you never know. You might use part of that story in another book or something. So I agree with you. So tell us why Elizabeth McBride is your favorite story that you wrote.
I like it because it's twisted. I like it because it has so many different potential possibilities. I like it because it's at a point in time in life where everything was so simple yet so difficult. I like it because of the evilness and the wickedness. Elizabeth McBride is a story of what happened after she committed suicide. Why did she haunt the mansion? Why did she kill everybody who stepped in her way? 5 investigators go into that house. Are 5 investigators going to be coming out of that house? You don't know until you read Elizabeth McBride.
What advice do you have for new authors or people who want to publish for the first time?
You write a good story. You believe in your story. You never give up hope of any kind. You don't let the bad reviews get you down. And most of all, you never give up.
Halloween is my favorite holiday of the year, and it's only a couple months away, so do you, as a horror writer, have anything special planned for Halloween?
Oh, I have lots of things planned for Halloween. In fact, my whole page at Amazon will be going up for sale Halloween. There will be one more book at least coming out before then, full of short stories, which I love, as everybody knows, especially horror short stories. We will be having a new author involved in this book, so there will be 4 authors all together with this book. I will be doing a box set for All Things Evil, Twisted Tales of Horror. I don't want to tell you everything, because I want you to come to my page, and I want you to see my old stories will be going up free on Halloween or near the week of Halloween. When this is going to start, it will be near the week of Halloween. So kind of keep coming back and visiting my page a little bit.
What books do you have planned for the future?
Oh, I have a book on 2 young girls who lost their mother and father in the war. And it's going to be a coming-of-age story with what happens to these girls after their mother and father had disappeared. It's a very sad story, but it's got some pretty happy parts in there as well.
Are you going to stay with Kindle Unlimited, or were you thinking about branching out to some of the other sales venues?
Oh, no, I'm staying with Amazon. I like the way that I know that my stories are read. I like how they put it up. I just need to write longer stories, and I think I'll do that in the future.
What are the best aspects of self-publishing?
You don't have any deadlines. You could write as much as you want or as little as you want. You don't have to worry where they're placing your book and where they're not placing your book, because you're doing all of that. If your sales aren't good, maybe you can only blame yourself for that. And the most important part, you get all the money. And it may not be the most important part necessarily, but it is an important part. And you have to remember that.
Well, Angie, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and I wish you luck in all you do.
All right, Rhoda. Thank you so much.
We've been talking to Angie Blake, who is a paranormal horror short story author. All her works are on Kindle Unlimited. Go check her out. Give her a shout on Facebook or Twitter. She also has her own website. Once again, I want to thank you for listening to Rhoda's Writing Corner. Be sure you check out my website at rhodadetour.com. You can get information on our free Connections e-magazine. You can make submissions. You can subscribe. It's completely free to authors and readers. If you want to join in our blog hop, there's information on my site to do that as well. So thank you once again for listening, and have a great day.